All right, so before we get into FileZilla, I'm just going to give you guys a few, I like to look around. So you have different platforms that actually manage apps, all right? So you call these PaaS. So with cloud hosting, you have three layers. You have SaaS, software as a service, which I mean, if you build out something that is hosted on a cloud, then you would be a SaaS provider. All right. So you'd be like, for instance, Orange HRM, I think, has a SaaS. SaaS has a SaaS offering where you can just go on and on a subscription basis, you just pay them monthly. You don't have to worry about any setup. You don't have to worry about having any servers. They manage everything for you. You don't even need an IT department too tough to administrate the software because it's all in the cloud and you don't need any on-premises um, infrastructure to support it. So that's one of the advantages to SaaS. All right, so you guys can start thinking business now. What service could I sell to somebody or some company that I could bring to them the value of a um, subscription-based offering where I don't have to tell them buy 10 expensive servers to host my solution, and you need an IT guy to do backups, and you need this and that. You just say, hey, you pay me $10 a month, and you just use the service. Or $10 per user, or whatever pricing model you want. But I don't know why Orange HRM is the only SaaS I can think of. But most of the times when you see subscription-based software offerings and they say, okay, and we do the backup for you and we 24/7 and all these things, it's usually somebody who built something on top of some cloud provider. All right. So that's the SaaS aspect. Then you have the PaaS, platform as a service. So the platform as a service usually facilitates the SaaS model very, very seamlessly. All right. So last week would have looked through Azure and I showed you guys the app service. I didn't show it in any great detail because I didn't go into building anything to go deploy on it and all these things. I didn't go into all of that. But at least have an appreciation for the fact that what the PaaS offering allows you to do is to write code. So you're a developer, you're not necessarily an infrastructure person. You know about IP and configure switch and you know about them, you know about code. And you want to put your code on the internet, and this kind of code can just go on shared hosting. Right. So clearly, if you went to dedicated, you have to know to configure the server. Right. But you know you want it to go on the internet, and you want to be able to tell people go to this website and pay me $20 a month, and you're just a developer. Then you have options like the Azure app service where you build a .NET app, you go on it and you say, give me a .NET app space, and then you can deploy your .NET app, your website, sorry, directly to that, and then they just give you the DNS or the domain name, sorry, which would be a shared domain name. It would be a subdomain name of appservice.com until you buy one. But anyway, they just give you that and then you just have your app. You don't have to worry about IIS and copy fold and deploy and set up. You don't have to worry about that. Similarly, AWS has Beanstalk. Right? If Microsoft has it, Amazon has it. Because Microsoft is playing catch up in the cloud game right now. But they're doing pretty well, catching up, right? So you have AWS Beanstalk, you have the Azure App Service. But without going to those big names and seemingly intimidating, because I mean, I found them intimidating initially at Microsoft Azure, and you know, I didn't really understand what all of this lingo was. I used to use this one, I still do from time to time, but I have two apps here. One you can see I started from 2 years ago, named Heroku. So Heroku, let me just log out quickly. So Heroku, let's see if I can go to the website. There we go. Heroku is a cloud offering. It's a PaaS offering. Now, Heroku is basically it's hosted on AWS. So what some guys did, they went to AWS, they bought up some AWS servers at the infrastructure level, configured them, containerized them, whatever it is they did. So literally it is a shared service, but this shared service is sitting down on AWS cloud and it is advertised to be a cloud offering. So it is still shared, but it is really cloud. Or it is cloud, but it is really shared. Let me put it that way. All right. So but to their credit, you would never know that it's shared because it's so fast, right? And then here, if you look on the website, they give you a nice little infographic. So they're showing you what infrastructure takes. You select the IaaS provider, you set up your OS, then you set up your containers and your storage and your networking because you have to do all of that with IaaS. But then what they did all of that. They did all of that heavy lifting and then just deployed something called Heroku and then say, okay, here's the interface you need. Here's how you deploy to it, and then you'll have your app ready to go. All right. They support basically any of the non.NET languages. I know some people in the class are going to get excited over that. All right, so you see a list of languages here. You have PHP, you have Java, you have Ruby, you have JavaScript, Scala, Go. Well, this one is a Python, right? And yeah, so they support a number of them. So ultimately, you write your code, and then if you're familiar with Git, they just use a Git interface. So the same way you would check coding on GitHub or in any Git engine is the same code you'll use to just deploy directly to their PaaS offering. And then if you have a database, they provision the database automatically for you. It's free. Well, there is a free offering, right? But it's somewhat limited, but I mean, it's nice to do it and get started and get familiar with it. Especially if you have to do like proof of concept for a business, if you have to build something, you just deploy it here and you show them. So at least it look like, you know, you're up to something sensible. So you can look into Heroku for your for some free development time and to have an appreciation of how a PaaS offering works. Similarly, if if I'm getting too much traffic, more traffic to my site than I thought I or um, would have accounted for, I can scale up. So Heroku calls it dynos, which I showed in the Azure web service, app service, that you could just scale out to the number of instances for the site. The dynos are the same thing, it's just a different terminology. So you'd see at their core, all of these past things are very much the same. All right, they just go by different names. That is pretty much all. All right. Another one that I had experimented with some time ago is Firebase. So Firebase works very similarly to Heroku. And they have all of these languages that it supports. Once again, none is .NET. I had experimented with this one before Google bought them. So when they came out, their selling point was that the API through which you develop your apps allows you to develop very quickly, and it is backed by a real-time engine. So I think this came out before Node.js was even that popular, right? And I figure it's the same kind of technology they use because I'm sure they're using WebSockets, utilizing WebSockets to get that kind of real time responsiveness. But ultimately, my experience with this one was pretty fun. I built a forum. I don't remember my account, so I built something of a forum to see if I can remember. Use Trev paste. All right, like a real-time forum. Ah, here it is. Nice. So I built a real-time forum. You have to sign in. I don't remember anything about the login. But you'd notice once again, you have that, and it's a subdomain of Firebase app. So if I wanted to get this as a website, I have to buy the domain name. Either buy it through them or buy it at a cheaper alternative and then do that whole mapping. Right? Um, that, I don't have the deployment code on this machine at all. This is a new machine and this was some while ago. Oh, and I think I'd use Angular to do this. So you can just look at them, play around with them. I'm sure you'll find some way. But once again, always remember your budget when you're making these decisions, because if you look at these prices, you realize that these are not cheap. $25 a month. Remember, shared hosting is $2.99 a month, right? So if you're going to be building if a church comes to you and says, "Hey, I want a website," and then you look up your hosting options, I wouldn't expect you to be choosing the flame plan to go tell the church that they have to go pay what is 25 by 12. I don't even know what 25 by 12. That's over, well, that's clearly over that's over $300 a year for hosting. When if they came to me, I would have just put them up on a nice shared hosting and then pay $80 for the year. Understand? So always assess your options. I keep on saying technology is highly contextual. All right, there's no best. It's just a matter of what is your context and what is best for you at that point in time. All right. So you can always look into those. I'd encourage you to, in your free time, just find a tutorial and just explore how they work, see how best you can use them. So if somebody comes in and say they want a real-time app, then you know that, okay, you can run in and you tell them that, okay, this I'll give you for free, but you have to pay a licensing cost of $1,000 a year, right, for maintenance. And if you have 20 users, then that's $10 per extra user. Be creative. I mean, but once again, know your pocket and know your budget and understand the requirements. All right. So, but yeah, so for the purposes of this class though, we'll be using webhost.com. All right. Now, I've been seeing some good work and I've been seeing some good emails and some good messages. So I know that you guys aren't foreign to the whole concept of development per se. All right. So sorry, not development, of web hosting. Apologies. So this whole process slash procedure of throwing a website up on this hosting platform should not be too hard. The second assignment requires that you actually submit something like this. All right. So the submission is to upload a site to this, and it should be browsable, and I mean, it should work. All right. So I already logged in, and if you missed it or if you haven't up until now, I advise you to just sign up for free. Free is sometimes good. In this case, it's not bad. I'm not going to say in this case it's good because they do limit you, but it's not bad. All right. It could be worse. So just logging in, and they're telling me that they don't know who I am. Oh no, I'm sure I didn't forget my password. Hmm. Hmm. And if them kick me out, probably going to have to do I forgot my password or something. But this doesn't look like they kicked me out. This just looks like they are having some issues. Let me see how long this reset is going to take. 1 moment. Tell them fools you here now, man. Sure. Sorry. The password that I was thinking this was, when I reset it to that, and then they're like, oh, your password can't match any password already in the database. Come on. So annoying. All right, no, there's definitely something wrong here then. All right, because I just reset it. Just reset it. All right, bring over this. Oh no, why it won't go through in private browsing? All right. So here I have a website list. So going to I'm going to delete. All right. So when you create, you should be given the option to have 3 website spaces. All right. As you can see, I've used this multiple times in this class. So if you click on your website details, they'll show you a little bit of information. They show you activities since the link to browse to, which of course if you click that, it will just browse to that, navigate to that. And then they give you your FTP information, and they give you advice as to which client you can use. So I use FileZilla, but I mean, any one of them works. All right, Jerry is saying let's sign up together. All right, so let me sign out quickly, no problem. Of course, I can't sign up because haha, I already signed up. But it's an easy step. You just put in your email address and your password, and you put in what you want it to be named. And I would have stated what I want you to name it for assignment purposes. So once you do that, then they will lead you to that panel. It may take a while to actually initialize, but once you're initialized and you're in, then you should be all right. All right. Once again, they give you all of these, and they give you that survey and nice little interface. But let us start from scratch, adding a website. So I'm going to simulate, well, not simulate, I'm going to actually create a site, upload files, and then browse it, and we see where, from end to end, how that would work. So by clicking into the empty space, oh, they're telling me I'm only allowed 2 websites. So what I will do then is I shall remove one. All right, so let me just manage settings. And then of course they're going to put that as the last result. The last resort. Are you sure you want to complete remove? I'm going to click delete. And then they'll ask me again. I say delete. And it is now deleted. And so they have restored me to my 2 empty slots. So also it's actually 2 empty slots again, not 3. All right, let me just remove this one too, so that you can start afresh. Delete. Boom. 3, 2, 1, and there we go. So, all right, so you actually start off with 1. No problem. So we start off with 1 of these, but then you saw the prompt just now that you can't have more than 2. So they start you off with 1, but they limit you to 2. All right, so by clicking this, they'll ask, what is the website name? So clearly then, having put in the website name earlier, then you would not need to put in a website name again, but let's just say web admin HTML or web admin site. All right, and I'm just going to use a password. So you would have seen that they gave you a hash to secure your password, your site. Sorry, it's better to use the generated ones because they would have taken all the security constraints into mind when they did that As you can see, this one is much shorter, and as you can imagine, it's much weaker because for the purposes of this class, I just want to remember the password. All right, but it's never a good idea to shorten the password. Always use the generated one, even if you have to. What well, my technique is that I put it in a sticky note on my machine. All right. So anyhow, having created the site, you would see a page like this. So they tell you your site name. Then you have the options to build website, which would give you the drag and drop interface. I don't want you guys to use any website builder, but I mean it's still something that you can learn because, like I said, with Squarespace, that's a website builder, and most hosting agents give you a website builder anyway. So a lot of people go this route when they're building. Um, Here they allow you to just deploy a WordPress site, right? And we'll be doing that today in the well, hopefully. All right, but that's not the one we're interested in now. What we're interested in is to upload your own site. So to upload your own site gives you an interface, and I'm going to click that. That allows you to take files from your machine, wherever the machine is, which I would assume is the machine you're using at that point in time. And you can just manually, you can actually create the file here. You can create a folder, or you can just go to upload and select them from the file system. Now, just to prove a point, remember I always said that index is the first thing that your server should see. So if I browse to this site, and please note how empty this site's folder is, there's nothing here. Usually when you're dealing with PHP, you see public underscore HTML as so with WAMP, we know that it is www. With XAMPP, it is htdocs. Generally speaking, in a cPanel setting, whether it's Bluehost or HostGate or whatever it is, you see public underscore HTML. I've not seen it otherwise anywhere as yet. So I can just assure you that it is more than likely 90% going to say that, unless you're not hosting PHP. All right. So their first advice to you is you're seeing this page because you don't have an index.php or HTML in that folder. So you can just go ahead and create the file. If you have it, you can upload it. I mean, they're helping you out here. So let me say create. And I believe that they're just going to give me the text editor. Did they? No, they did not. Let me look back here. Let me refresh and see if it actually got created. And it did not. Oh, some file me. I click this and you're still seeing it. Oh, they're just rerouting it to the page to say, okay, do your thing. Go ahead and create it. All right, cool. No problem. So one option is to manually upload the file. Select files, and then you try and find where I should make you guys see my file system like that, I'm just going to select one of the pages that I did as an activity in my other web class. All right, you can actually select multiple. So if I select all of these and click open, you will just do that, and then click upload. So I mean that's well and fine if you have a few files. Like I have only 5 files, so it's easy enough to just send all of them up one time. And then when I click on the site and reload, you'll see now you're seeing my index.html page, right? So that's why I said index is a very, very important keyword in the web sphere of things, right? Now, the alternative to doing all of this, and that ht access file, edit with caution. As a matter of fact, if you don't ever have to touch it, don't ever touch it. Word of caution, right? Unless you're trying to do something and they say, hey, you need to modify this, then I don't know what's happening here. What's this happening here? Did it log me out? Okay. Hmm. Okay. All right. No problem. All right. So we have up our site. The alternative method to going through all of that manual upload, and this of course would come in handy if you have multiple files and you probably need to progressively manage them, right? You probably want to use your FTP um, client to manage the files. All right. So if I go to settings and I click general, I'll see here the FTP details, which one, this has to be turned off. So you can actually enable it or disable it. Most sites allow you to set up multiple users and probably limit their permissions. But I mean, this is free, so they're not going to give you that level of security, right? But then you have the host name, the port name, the username, and whatever you had put as the password just now. So that's why I said even if you use the hash, make sure you write it down because, or you make note of it because you are going to need it for later, right? So I installed the FileZilla, right? So I'm going to use these settings and I'm going to try and connect via FileZilla. So host, I was going to choose that as the host name. And I mean, you can just copy and paste, but so that I don't have to keep on going back and forth, I'll just use this. So web admin dash site. And that's my username. And I remember what I set as my password, 21. 21 is usually the default FTP port. And then they're going to ask, do you want to save the password? I mean, I can just save it. It's no harm for me, at least. But based on your security policies, you may not want to do that. Right? So they're saying that it has been established and they're waiting for the welcome message. Let's see if this will actually work. All right, so they said that it failed. And there we go. All right, so I got auto connected. Huh. Why triple O post off at me? All right, let's try that again. So this time I'm going to go into the site manager. So usually you can use the no, well, Ramon is asking if it's 1 year free. It's actually free. It's just free. The downside is that it sleeps for I think 2 hours a day, but it's just free. There's no time limit on the freeness. All right. So you can actually manage, if you manage multiple websites, you can actually have multiple sites. So each site represents a website that you would have to manage. And you just put in the relevant host name. So let me just copy this again. I don't know if I don't see any spaces. So let's try that. Make sure no spaces at the front. 21 FTP login type. I don't know if you will take anonymous. Let me try and connect and see if it will prompt for the password. I don't look so. Yeah. Okay, so using that drop down, you can actually just see all the sites and you just click. But I don't want to do that. I want to edit it. All right, so changing the authentication type to normal. Where I'm going to put in the username and password. They did not specify if it well, they just said FTP. They didn't stipulate that it should be SFTP or anything else. Let me see if I should use plain try and connect. There we go. So I think I was just enforcing too much security. So let me just go through that once again. So in the site manager, you create the site. You have your host name, and of course, as you just realized, you have to ensure that the protocol and the security measures you're using match what you're going to say. You can't impose security that does not exist, right? On the receiving side. All right, cool. Yeah, man. Sorry. Yeah, so you don't want to be imposing security restrictions on your end that aren't on the receiver's end, right? So that's one of the things that my file client was forcing me to do, or defaulting to, sorry. Logon type, yeah, you notice you have a number, you have anonymous, ask for password, interact with that. So if I said ask for password, it would have connected and then I still have to type in the password, or I can just say normal and put in everything one time. And then you would have configured that site, right? So by clicking that, loads the remote site in the right hand side. So to the left is my file system, to the right is the remote site file system. Now you would remember that I had just uploaded a bunch of files. All right, so these are the files that are currently in my file system in the remote site, and you'd see them listed here. Cool. Now, interestingly enough, I can use right here and manage. I can delete from here. I can add right here, and it will just bring it over or remove it accordingly. So let me see if I can find my one folder where all the sites are stored. All right. So let's say I wanted to pull over timetable. It's actually not complex, you know. It's just a matter of getting used to it. So the FTP client, once you have the settings, connecting should be a breeze. Cool. I just overlooked a few things, which is why I may have discombobulated it to begin with. But essentially, once you have the settings, you have the client, you put in the settings, and you log in, then you would see your computer to the left and the remote sites folder, public HTML and whatever to the right. Now you can just literally drag and drop files. So if I wanted an entire site to come over, like for instance, this is my entire site, right? And it is how much ever files, it's hundreds of files, 50 files, whatever it is. You know, to do it manually over here in the upload, it may be tedious. So I can just pull it over, drop it, and then it will automatically just add it. See, you see all of that activity is just copying over everything, and it will notify me this was successful. And if I look in the public HTML folder again, it should now reflect everything that I just did. So you see here the whole folder, additional pages, the whole folder is now on my site. Right? So you can actually accomplish this without ever having to go to your browser. Right? Because when you're managing and somebody call you and say, hey, please update this on this page or please change this or whatever, and you do it on your computer instead of having to go log in and then you just pull up your FileZilla, you connect to the site and you just pull it over. If I'm pulling over a file that already exists, so like I'm going to pull over this index.html and I already have one here, right? And you notice that there are two different files. If you look at the sizes, I can pull it over and it will ask me, am I sure I want to overwrite it? But you understand? So it makes it much easier to manage your whole site. I just said replace. All right. but sometimes it's not so stable. Whenever you see a red line, you know, say, all right, something go wrong. Cool. So, all right, so you went to, oh, no, it's not go over. Anyway, sorry. So when I tried to browse to this site, okay, it did go over. And never mind the appearance. I'm trying to teach basic HTML, so I'm teaching them CSS and trying to keep it as simple but rewarding as possible. All right. So you have that. If I wanted to go to that subfolder, which is slash web development, then, well, I mean, slash web. This is going to be a lot to type out. I can't bother to type out all of that. So here's what I'm going to do. Over here, I'm just going to rename, and I'm just going to say slash web. All right, and see it got renamed. And just to prove that it got renamed, if I reload this page, you'll see that that folder is now called web, right? So slash web. And then like clockwork, it's really just going to load the index. So notice it's not even, it doesn't even need to say that slash index.html. So the same way you should have experienced that whole defaulting to index experience with your previous assignment, putting in the website and going to it, and it's a local host, and then it brings up the site, or local host slash subfold, and it brings up the site. It's the same way the web server really reacts, right? I don't have any diagnosing. Oh yeah, these are all dead links, so that shouldn't matter. All right. So that's pretty much how you would go about moving website files to the server. All right, so that's it for time. I'm going to kill this and I will look at WordPress and I will call it a night. All right.